12:30 on the East Coast. This is pjnet.tv. You see the bumper. What you will see in a few moments is a countdown. We've got a shot of the studio. We've got some background stuff. We've got Del Didway standing by. We're recording and streaming. Let's start that countdown to Studio 13. Well, good evening and Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and season's greetings. Did I cover it all? I'm so glad to be here. I am Coach Prasic, and this is pjnet.tv. It says so right over there. Every Tuesday, right up to Christmas, okay? Del Didway has been our host for, years and years, it seems, and he's always a blessing. He's always ready, and he is standing by. Let me bring him on board and introduce him. I put his website up there, deldidway.com. I didn't mean to put that up there right now, but there it is, deldidway.com, where you can find his blog. Del, I put you in the wrong window, so go ahead and say a few things, and I will put you in the correct.
You'll put me in the cockpit there? Years ago, I actually went up with Blue Angels when I worked as a reporter in the county show. We got to go up with them for a few minutes, and I don't remember a whole lot of it. I was nauseous the rest of the time.
Oh, you went up with, when you say up with them, you mean
up with them? Yes.
How do you how do you get that deal?
Well, our photographer. Well, they were in town. We were doing a show. We were covering it. They give rights to the media, whoever wants it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
cool.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I didn't puke, but I felt like it.
Well, they're based not far from here in Pensacola, Florida.
Right. Yeah, I knew that. So it was a fun time. I'll never do it again. I don't think so. But not my age anyway. I was young and stupid then. Now I'm old and stupid.
I still. Okay, deldidway.com is up. Now, you have been, you've got such a body of work out there. You didn't just rerun a blog, but you borrowed heavily on some themes from Christmas blogs in the past. And for the past few weeks, we've heard about movies, we've heard about books. This week, it's songs.
Yeah, Christmas songs, Christmas carols, some of my favorites. Obviously a little bit of history of them. I wrote one a couple years ago that I thought I'd rerun it, but I didn't. It was actually a history of Silent Night. So I saw this one and I thought, you know what, I like this one too. Just talks about Silent Night, but also talks about some of the other favorite Christmas carols, Christmas hymns. Just a little history about each one, just a blurb or two. It's some of my favorites that we talked about some of the other songs that I enjoyed earlier. These are some of the more traditional, I guess you will call it, Christmas songs, Christmas carols. Starts out with "Hark the Herald Angels Sing," which was written in 1739. I mean, that's a long time ago, and that song's still, one of the favorites today. And it just gives a little history about, and I kind of ask, what would have it been like to have been there, and hear these, these angels singing. That would have been so glorious, I think, and so exhilarating to hear these angels singing, and at the birth of Christ. So I think that was, I try to kind of paint that picture, and then I go into, "Come All Ye Faithful," what actually was written in 1744. Again, we need some more people who can write good songs, and other than several hundred years ago. So,
I hesitate to ask where you found the authoritative history on this.
I just made it up. No, you go back and you research. When you look at a couple of them and they're similar, then they must be right. I mean,
when they converge on something, you kind of assume there's something.
Two or three different history, because you go to the song and you go to the history of it, there's typically a little tab for it. You go to Wikipedia and you look about it. Wikipedia sometimes can be a little, iffy. So you kind of have to compare, hey, if three or four of them say it was written in 1744 or 1745, then, it's probably pretty accurate.
It's probably around there somewhere.
It's probably around there sometime. So I can't give the exact time on that. So, and that message is is pretty simple. This is a happy time. Come all ye faithful, all you, let's adore him. Come, let us adore him. So I think that's a pretty simple message that I think we need to take time and really listen to that simple message, because a lot of things can be said in simplicity. And today's world likes to complicate things and overanalyze things. This is a pretty straightforward message here. That's why it's one of my favorites. I'm a simple guy. I like simple messages, so I don't like to think too much. So, and then again, one of the 1700s is "Joy to the World." That's just a fantastic song. Again, just says what's happened. Joy to the world. The Lord's here.
What impressed me as I read through the blog, I mean, you kind of, it's almost like a journey of sorts reading your blog, because there's commonality. You go into who wrote the song, but there's a lot of trivia it's really not trivial.
Right.
One song you said, I forget which one it was. We're not really sure who wrote it, but yet we think it's been attributed to, it's not author unknown. There seems to be some dispute over who wrote this thing,
Right. Yeah. And then it goes into a lot of other ones, like "Do You Hear What I Hear?" I really like that song. I think and that's kind of different because that was written, had a political overtone to it, because it was written during the Cuban Missile Crisis, and it was meant to bring peace, a little bit of peace, but even though it had a little bit of politics thrown in there, still a good song. And I think, if you listen to Bing Crosby sing it, then
you like him, don't you?
He's just a great Christmas song, great voice. Holy cow! If you listen to him sing.
Well, remember back then they didn't have the quality microphones and recording equipment that we have today.
Right.
Imagine if he were alive today recording.
Oh, he's. Yeah, I don't know I don't know if people would listen to him today or not, because they love. There's no really good musicians out there, or singers out there, or actors out there anymore. So it's all about shock value, and if you can be an idiot, and how many tattoos you have on your face and stuff like that. So it's not about the voice anymore. It's not about the talent. It's about if you have 93 piercings in your face, you're going to be a star. It doesn't matter what you say or sing. And then then there's "Oh Holy Night," which is one of my favorites as well. I touch on that, and then of course you can't get through Christmas without hearing Nat King Cole sing. So
my dad loved him.
Yeah, again, beautiful voice, great song, great.
What
Christmas.
if he were alive today? I mean, think about it. Back then, it was at the very least a segregationalist culture. Yet he was so accepted in the broader culture.
Yeah.
And maybe music does have some unifying and harmonizing impact.
Music does, good singing does. Some of this other trash doesn't. So I think that's the difference. Again, you're looking at, back then you had real comedians. You had Bob Hope, you had funny people, you had actors, you had Jimmy Stewart, who was a real actor, and that's why his movie, It's a Wonderful Life, is still ranked as one of the best ever, because true talent. I mean, it wasn't just.
And Jerry Clower was actually fun.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. And then, then I touch on, one of the obvious, probably everybody's favorites, is "Silent Night." Written, we're going to go against the grain here. It was written in 1818, in the 1800s.
Oh boy, yeah.
By Joseph Moore, composed by Franz Gruber in Austria, and they wrote about what they thought would have happened, the night Jesus was born. And was the night silent? And then I touched on what my Sunday school teacher taught. He gave a little rendition of there's no way that night could have been silent. No way it could have been silent.
Anything but.
Yeah, because of all the hustle and bustle, because the inn was crowded, so obviously there was a lot of people there, right? So it could, if you ever stayed at a hotel, a lot of people, it's not quiet.
Yeah.
And animals around you, not going to be quiet. Cows mooing, things like that. Not going to be a silent night. And when a baby's crying, a baby's born, it's crying.
Yeah.
It's not silent.
Nor was it a very sterile environment we would find in most.
Right. So, it's probably not going to be a silent night.
Yeah.
But then, excuse me, I touched on maybe my vision of, maybe it was silent just for a few moments. Maybe everybody, what's happening here? And maybe everybody stood at attention or wondered.
As I was reading that, I was reminded of how I can remember times when an entire football stadium would fall silent.
Yeah, just like sometimes when they used to honor the country, they would have or there was a passing, they would have a moment of silence. Mm-hmm. Maybe that's what happened.
There's something about the reverence.
Yeah.
And I'm reminded of the title of Ben Cooper's book, All Nature Sings. There's a certain reverence and respect that is invoked with silence, and your blog goes into some it's that writing style that author in you starts to come out, because you begin to paint pictures of how the silence revered the coming of the King.
Maybe it was revered, maybe it was fear, maybe it was confusion or interest. Mm-hmm. Maybe it was just didn't understand, and then those who knew, maybe they were honored. So I think he had a combination of a lot of things. Maybe just for a few seconds they were all silent, waiting to see what was going to happen. So maybe Tom's pointed out, maybe it wasn't silent, just maybe just for a few moments it was. Yeah. So that was what I tried to depict there, and the whole message is in Silent Night is what Christ the Savior is born. So, have
you been out to see the star?
Yeah, last night. Yeah, saw it pretty good here in Ohio.
Okay, because the star has not fascinated me, but it has been. I'm a contrarian, I guess, when I think, because it is thought, or it is. Well, let me just kind of unwrap it here, okay? The wise men from the east, okay, is often attributed as them coming from the east. They were Eastern,
right?
Were following a star in the east,
right?
Okay, now if the star is in the eastern hemisphere, mm-hmm. you were traveling east. That means you came from the west. Mm-hmm. Now there's only about 25 miles of land between Bethlehem and the Mediterranean Sea.
Okay.
So perhaps they were mariners.
I don't know. I don't know. They just said it's up there, and I went out, and it's to my southwest.
Yes, we tried to observe it the other night, and it's presumably in the southwestern. It was not very spectacular from where I was standing.
Ours was pretty distinguished. It was pretty obvious. It was pretty big. So in fact, Andy Clapp posted a good picture. It was over his church.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty distinguished. So I mean, it was pretty stand out there. So I saw that picture. So yeah, ours was bigger than usual stars. So it was pretty obvious here.
It's unusual, and there's a common theme in all religions. Okay. That center their faith around an individual, let's just say.
Yeah.
There's always a recurring theme in this kind of stuff, that there's unusual circumstances around their birth. Mm-hmm. And of course, the biblical account, this is one of the arguments against the existence of God. But think about the birth of Moses, mm-hmm. the unusual circumstances. But that always seems to be a theme. Mm-hmm. So there certainly was unusual circumstances around Jesus' birth. Overwhelmingly, well, first of all, virgin birth, that's kind of a first, isn't it?
Well, if you don't believe the virgin birth, then you might as well not believe in anything,
right?
Because that's the whole premise. If you don't believe, and there's some people who don't believe it. If you don't believe in the virgin birth, then you really can't believe in the plan of salvation. You can't believe in miracles. You can't believe in anything. Or
well,
faith.
If there's any fiction in the Bible, then the whole thing's fiction.
Exactly. So yeah, but there's folks who've we've actually talked to them, a few of them, who said that she could not have been, a virgin. It's impossible. So
Well,
that's just where people just overthink things again.
I was going to say they think
they want to
too much.
impress and they don't impress. So, in fact, our pastor preached on that the other day. We listened to him. If you don't believe in the virgin birth, then you might as well just not even believe in anything. So.
Yeah. Well, it's and yet at the same time, we readily accept the notion that, if you're testifying in court and you're found to be telling a lie, it discredits the rest of your testimony. Well, the same principle is true in the Bible. The Bible's not fiction, it's truth. Mm-hmm. So if it's truth, there can't be any mixture of fiction in it.
It's truth in our opinion, I think, but some folks don't believe that.
Well, yeah, you have the choice. Right. You can make the choice to believe it or not.
Right.
But whether you believe it or not doesn't impact anyway. But the harmony in the scriptures is unbelievable because, see, the prophecy of the coming Messiah, I mean, how can you account for the harmony of the scriptures where prophecy after prophecy after, how many prophecies were fulfilled that night, do you suppose?
Right. So, yeah, and this, it's just something that you either believe or you don't. It's just your choice, and you're given that choice. You're not made to believe it, so.
It would take more faith to not believe it, in my opinion, than it would to believe.
Yeah, because you can't go back and think, how this world, how were we created? So we just didn't accidentally happen.
No.
And so, yeah, it would take the fun out of it, I think.
Okay. We're just chasing a rabbit.
Yeah, I know. That's fun, though. But, yeah, the blog, I liked it because I talked about, that silent night wasn't really silent in that song. I should have put a link to the one I wrote about.
Oh, by the way, I'm seeing compliments in the chat room thanking you for the links to the actual media.
Oh,
that you talk about.
Yeah, I try to back it up. So,
yeah, well, it's not too hard. Here it is. Go listen to it here. Really, it's good.
Yeah, that's not bad. Yeah, I put links to all the songs in there too. So, like "Burl Lives," I think was in one of them. Holly Jolly Christmas, you can't beat that. Mm-hmm. And there are good secular Christmas songs. I'm not that sanctimonious where I don't. Yeah, sometimes they're fun. They're great.
Well, yeah, and one of the and I was glad you pointed this out, and I'm glad you kind of mix it in. Not only is there a unifying characteristic in music, but there's also a lot of diversity in the work that you are highlighting. And yes, I agree. There's nothing wrong with having a celebration of Christmas that was written. I used to look at the old Baptist hymnal. It's in the pew, and you look through these songs and. Even as a teenager, I looked at this and was studying the dates. And I thought to myself, I guess God just quit inspiring music around 1890 something.
Yeah. He kind of took a break, hasn't he? Or maybe he's just been inspiring people. They just don't listen to it.
Well, I don't know what it takes to crack a hymn into the Baptist hymnal, but if it was written after 1890 something, good luck on that.
It's bad stuff, yeah.
Oh, and another thing about hymns, I don't know if you've noticed. Now, tell me about the way you do things in your traditions. If you're going to write a hymn for the Baptist hymnal, whatever you're going to say in verse 3, don't put anything important in there.
Skip that verse, yeah.
Because we're going to do verses 1, 3, and 4, or 1, 2, and I don't know why. It's like, did the worship leader read verse 3 and say, there's really just nothing worthwhile in there?
We haven't sung his hymns for a while. We haven't been in church for a while, so I don't know. But and we typically go through my father-in-law is the song leader. He typically sings that. He sings them all typically. So even the five verses sometimes.
I would do that. Just in respect for the person that wrote it.
Yeah.
It bothers me. Does it bother you when? And I'll say the national anthem, but there's others. I really don't like it when people personalize it too much. I really just like the original rendition, the original arrangement.
What do you mean personalize? Oh, you mean go off on their own?
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah, I tell you what, the best one I think to this day still was Whitney Houston.
Whitney Houston.
She sang it as it was supposed to be sung.
There you go.
And didn't get flowery, even though she had a beautiful voice. just sung it with patriotism.
It-
Yes, and
she was
none of the
just
flowery
pouring-
stuff. Yeah,
Right. She was just pouring herself into it, but
Yeah.
I just don't like it when they try to.
Yeah.
It just rubs me wrong, and maybe I just don't get it, or maybe I'm a fuddy duddy. But if I wrote a song or wrote something, I wouldn't want it. I would want it repeated the way I wrote it. Now, if you want to write something different, go right ahead.
Yeah, I know.
But don't
Yeah,
mess
so-
up mine up. Yeah.
But yeah, some of them get off on that, and they try to go with their style. I don't really want to hear the style; just hear the song. But very few people can get away with that, and she was one of them. So
Yeah.
she just sung it, and it was awesome. That's why hers is still probably the most popular ever to this day, and because she just sang it.
We used to open PJ Net live, with her on so many occasions. It's hard, and look, I don't remember when that was in the 90s or something.
It was
Okay.
it was during the Gulf War. Yeah.
Yeah, in 30 years, look how far we've sunk.
Oh, yeah. Now
Isn't
don't even sing it now.
Oh, yeah. It's
We need something to stir up patriots, so we better not get off on this tangent.
Yeah,
we
I know,
we
but-
need something pretty drastic to get Americans thinking about America again, and I don't know what that will be. But there was a post on Twitter the other day by a very well-known comedian, and Terrence Williams. He posted the other day that we're going to have to take this country back the old-fashioned way, and he's a black comedian, and oh my gosh, it got a lot of play. What do you mean by that? And he's like,
everything means more than what you said.
well, he was pretty obvious what he meant. We're going
yeah.
to take this country back the old-fashioned way. So
I
I
think-
think it may come to that.
When you say that, I don't have the visual. I wish I'd have known we were going to talk about this. I love
That's
the
all
one "Peace the Old-Fashioned Way," and it's a B-52.
Yeah, I know. So anyway, getting back to Christmas songs. This is the last one before Christmas. So I hope everybody has a great Christmas out there, and a lot planned.
Have you caroled every year until now?
Yeah, first year we haven't done it in a long time, in many years. Yeah, we didn't go this year, and we should go to all the shut-ins and some of the elderly folks who can't get out, and it's just really remarkable to see how that 4 minutes of sitting them at someone's door can mean to them, or 3 minutes, or whatever it takes, to sing 5 or 6 songs. So, just remarkable. It makes you feel good.
Reckon it'll come back,
Yeah, I think so.
but the handshake is gone, right?
I think forever. Yeah, I was one of the first ones to predict that. Handshake is gone.
I was shocked, and I couldn't think of what would replace it, but I thought the salute would be appropriate.
Yeah, I guess. So I just nod.
Not a fist, not an elbow bump.
I don't do that. I don't do fist bumps. I
don't
just
like that.
nod. How you doing?
I think a
Or
salute
wave.
would be good.
Yeah. So anyway,
You let me check time. You in your promo said you had some kind of announcement,
oh yeah, big one.
and you didn't let me in on it. So folks, we're all hearing this.
Oh, so you don't know?
No.
Oh, well, maybe next week I'll tell y'all. No, no, we made it official today. Our youngest son and his wife are expecting their first child, our third grandchild. So we're happy about
You're
that.
into the granddad thing, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I am now. It's awesome. So now there'll be number 3 on the way. Be here in June. They told us about a month ago, and they found out the gender today. And yes, we still believe in males and females in this house. And
Why did they bother doing those tests? Anyway,
I don't know. We just want to find, I guess, to find out what you're going to buy the child. So
that makes sense.
So yeah, we're happy to announce that we're going to be grandparents for the 3rd time. So our youngest son Eli and his wife, this will be their first child. So
Now, Del, you're a book writing kind of guy. There are a lot of books out there on parenting. Are there any books out there on grandparenting?
I don't know. I'm sure there are, but I haven't. That's a good idea.
Well, I think you're an expert at this point.
I'll have to research that. Maybe I'll be put that on my docket here in a couple of years.
Because a lot of your stuff, when I noticed on social media, you're really into the grandparenting thing, and Of course, and I'm not a grandparent, so I'm sitting here thinking, I wonder how great that is. I can only
That's
imagine.
awesome.
You know.
Yeah, we had them yesterday. Sophie and Joel were here yesterday, and for a while, tearing up the place. And Angie babysat today, and then they're all coming over Thursday night here to the house.
Well, I've had a rather
Christmas.
negative opinion of grandparenting because I know too many grandparents who are normal, rational individuals. Until.
Yes. Oh, it's awesome. Yeah, they can do anything they want to do. And,
Yeah.
so yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, she'll get there, and you'll be a grandpa, and it'll be awesome. You won't be nothing like it.
Now, we were talking off the air for the program. You're making steady progress on a podcast. Is that under a lid, or can we talk about it?
No, we can talk about it. I plan to launch it here at the first of the year. It should be mine. But the one we had been approached about is kind of on the back burner, and so I've been kind of waiting on that. And I just not tired of waiting, but I'm just going to go ahead and proceed with mine. If that other one happens, it happens.
Right.
So yeah, I'll be kicking that off probably the first of the year, and it'll be probably weekly, and it'll be a different format. Nothing against the other ones. I think they're awesome. I've been on a lot of them. But I'm not going to be as much of as an interview type of person. I'm not going to be having other folks on unless there will be times when I do. I mean, there'll be, I'll have you on the Eyes of Faith podcast. They've been pretty faithful. I'm sorry, Exercise Your Faith. Eyes of Faith is a different podcast. Exercise Your Faith, gentlemen. In fact, I got a card from them today, so I have them on. But mine's going to be more just my venting and ranting about things for about 15 minutes. I'm not going to go very long. And
I'm gonna hold you to that.
Yeah, I mean, I will. I'll have it out 15 minutes max, and put it out there on all the platforms, and I'll probably tape it on a Saturday morning and ship it out. So it's going to be called At Dell's Discretion. So it'll be my opinion.
Yeah.
My opinion only, and I'll back it up. And if people don't like it, they can just turn it off.
Well, and they can do their own blog. This is America.
They can do their own blog.
Right.
Exactly.
And, that's the way it's supposed to work, isn't it?
Well, it's supposed to, unless you have
get censored.
Yeah, I've been censored by my local paper. Doesn't want my political stuff anymore. So this will be my avenue, my venue to talk about. I mean, no, it's not going to be political. It's just going to be my thoughts on things. And I'm typically right, so it's going to be my angle.
Well, Dell, I think
on anything.
You have a lot going for you in a blog or a podcast because one, your voice, you're very gifted vocally, in spite of overcoming stuttering in your younger years.
Yeah, your younger days.
But you're very blessed in that sense, and also you can rant. But I'll tell you something else you can do that not many can do is you can reflect. And I think that. That's a pretty good recipe, inflective or reflective. You can rant and you speak well. You're an artist with words.
Well, mine's not going to be rehearsed. It's just going to be I'm going to pick a topic and I'm just going to talk about it. And I'm not going to. I may research one or two things like my blogs. I may do some research, but I'm not going to script it out and read it. I'm just going to talk, and I'm going to be talking to an empty, screen. So just going to be me and my microphone and my thoughts, and occasionally some folks on. But I'm not going to do the standard interview process. Which again, those are great. We need those. But this is going to be my platform to talk because I hear lately I have been censored. Some of my stuff's been rejected, and it's crazy that. They only want the good stuff. They don't want my opinion anymore as they wanted it years ago.
Isn't it ironic? They literally come to you and ask your opinion, and when you give it to them,
they don't like it. They don't run it.
No.
So anyway, this will be my platform. In fact, I probably have a bigger platform than they do. So I'll use it to my advantage. I'm not going to slam them, but they just become like most media. They don't. It's not that they're spineless. They're very brave and bold in what they do. What they do is just censor and propagate. They don't report. They don't give opinions. They give their opinions and they shove it down people's throats without any other opinions or any other avenue. It's just their poison that they've thrown upon the world. And for the past 10, 12 months, they've created chaos more so than ever.
Well, and I think what used to be a debate or dialogue or exchange of opposing ideas, well, it's kind of gone the way of professional wrestling. Professional wrestling used to be an athletic event, and now it's just a show, and that's kind of what it disgusts me when you have if I were a guest and had two people here, and they started talking over each other, I would assert some control and say, "No, wait a minute,"
I love that. It used to be journalism years ago used to have integrity about them, even though they were wrong or right. They used to have some integrity, some statesmanship about them. They were the check and balance,
Right.
Now nobody checks them. So they've become so overwhelmingly powerful in their own filth that they have they don't answer to anybody. Because they're owned by so much money that who cares?
Well, that's pretty profound. They were the check and balance, but nobody's checking them.
Nobody can check them. Who can check them? Nobody.
Yeah.
And if it's all about money. If you have the most money, you can buy them out. You can say what you want to say. They were the check and balance of the president, to the court, to the Congress, to the Senate. They called them out. Now, who calls them out? Because they're wrong.
Right.
The flat out media is so corrupt. They've been shoving things down our throats for years. I think the two most corrupt systems in America, or in the world, one is the media, and two, guess what number two is? Education. Number two is education, not politics.
Yeah.
The media is the most corrupt. The educational system is the most second corrupt, because we're seeing the results of years of 20 to 30 years of indoctrination from the media and from our liberal socialist professors. Now this generation that's burning down statues, that's what they've been told for 20 years.
Yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, I would have said politicians, but you're right.
Politicians are the result of they're afraid. They've been intimidated so much and bribed so much that they're afraid to do the right thing.
Okay.
Because if they do the right thing, what happens to them? They get
the media.
The media goes after them, or recent thugs intimidate them.
Yeah.
Because they've been poisoned. They've been poisoned by the media, and they've been poisoned by our education system. Now, it's not saying everybody in the education system is bad. There's good people out there.
Sure.
But
Well, there's great teachers out there, but the
as a whole,
it's interesting.
So anyway,
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Thanks for everybody for being out there. Merry Christmas, and I'm happy to be a grandfather again.
Okay. Well, Dell, thanks for sharing with us tonight. Next time we get together, we'll be talking about a brand new year. So you've got a week you've got a week to think about that.
No resolution blogs, I promise.
Okay. All right. Or you could fact. There he is, folks. Dell Didway here on pjnet.tv. Just want to give you a little wave there to let you know this is live. You are looking at the Eagle's Nest through the lens of one of the many orbiting cameras in our studio. Oh, folks, what a week it is being. Yes, it's Christmas week. Let me remind you that tomorrow night we have two guests, as usual. We're kind of running on a skeleton. Well, anyway, we have two guests tomorrow night. Exercise Your Faith will join us at 9 p.m., followed by Michelle Medlock Adams at 9:30 Eastern Time. And then on Thursday night, J.D. Winninger will be our guest on the big screen, that one or one like it. Friday night, we're going to take, Steve Hazards is taking the night off Friday night, this Friday only. But you can be assured that if you come to pjnet.tv's live chat room, you will not be alone. You will be with friends. So if you are up at that hour, if you are one of our friends or family, hope you'll come join us and just kind of hang out. Not sure exactly what we're going to do, but I don't want anybody to be alone on Christmas Day. Or any other day for that matter, okay? Folks, it's been a great evening tonight, as always. Thank you very much, those of you in the pjnet.tv chat room. I love each one of you. Each one of you bring something special, not only to the chat room, but to each of our lives. Folks, it's time to go. I've got a long day ahead of me tomorrow. One more day in the work marathon that started Saturday. 11-hour shifts, 5 days in a row. tomorrow night. I'll be done. I'd like to have you reflect for a moment, seriously, on 2 questions. First, what is the boldest thing that you've ever done for Jesus Christ? And number 2, when was that? Folks, have a Merry Christmas. Enjoy, be joyful, but know that it requires boldness to walk with Christ. So I hope that none of us will be satisfied with our answers to either of those 2 questions.